We are star stuff, right? There's stars in the heaven, but there's stars right here in this room and all over the planet. One of the relationships that reminds us to live in everyday wonder is our relationship with nature. And these stars lift us up and remind us that we are part of that sky. We are lifted up to be one with the Spirit. And one of my favorite things to do in life is, in the summer, is watch the Perseid meteor shower in August. The viewing is best when the sky is clear and dark, and I'm far from the city lights, maybe in Zayat National Park or driving up 395 near Lee Vining. And hopefully the moon is a small crescent or hasn't come up yet. And when you look at the sky, there's so many stars in the sky that it looks like a painter, a graphic designer just put them there for us, right? But that's what it really looks like before we had all of these city lights and everything. And when you have the Perseid meteor shower, they have these stars that go across the sky. What do you call them? Shooting stars. Thank you. And but there'll be like 50 to 75 an hour, which is amazing that they're there. And it doesn't seem real. And this year it's going to be on August 11th and 12th is the highest day. And it's going to be a magnificent show. So make sure that you go see it if you can. But as I contemplate, I think we've got an extra microphone on here, Michael. Okay, is that better now? Good. Okay. So anyway, as I'm lying there, maybe you want to lie down on the grass if it's comfortable, or a lawn chair or blanket or something like that, and just looking up at the stars. And as I contemplate this amazing display of nature, it's like I become one with it, right? We go beyond the limits of seeing ourselves as within this skin and bones, right? We go out and we become part of the universe, one with the universe. And surely there is a power that's greater than I am that is guiding and creating this with intelligence and caring and love for all of creation. I feel small and yet an integral part of the universe, all at the same time, right? And I think we're still having some mic problems. Are you sure that there's not an extra mic on? Is it the one at the piano? Could be one of the piano mics. And it could be the what do you call it, that remote box? Wiggle it around a little bit, maybe. The connector in the upper left, Shirley. Yeah, sometimes said it. Is that better? Oh, I think that, oops. Nope, that was a different sound. Okay, well, we'll try, we'll keep going. Okay, I have lots of good things to say. So, as I'm here and my consciousness expands and I know that whatever that is getting fixed. And so, but we become aware of that loving and intelligence that is there. And it's both observing me and it is looking out at the world through my eyes, right? You see, the divine needs us in order to see itself, in order to experience itself. Right? That's why the whole world was created in the first place. Carl Sagan, the American astronomer, poetically described it this way. We're made of star stuff. We are a way for the cosmos to know itself. Right? Nothing happens outside of spirit. Everything that's been made, spirit makes out of itself. And in John, 1 John, it says, in the beginning, God. Now, this means there was only God, right? There was no manifest universe. There was everywhere. It was all inclusive. It was infinite. It was all potential, but there was nothing manifest, right? And then spirit moves upon itself. Spirit must be self-conscious. It must be present and all-knowing, omniscient. And in the beginning, and John continues, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, right? Going back to Genesis for that version of the creation story. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Right? And from the Word, then, comes forth all that appears. So in this creation story, using the John version of John, when God spoke, when we put out the Word, the intention, creation begins. And it works with us because we're like a hologram of God. All that God is working in and through and as us. And so our intention, our word has power to create. What we believe has power. And so it's very important to be careful with our words. Right. In his book, Creative Mind, written in 1919, one of the first books that Ernest Holmes wrote, he said, "Whatever this process of creation is, we find it is always an inner thought process. We should keep this in mind. The Spirit makes all things out of itself. The impulse of the Spirit to move must be caused by a desire to express what it feels itself to be: beauty, form, color, life, love, and power. All things we find in the manifest universe are attributes of the Spirit and are caused to spring into being through the Word, because the Spirit wants to enjoy itself, right? It's not just heavy and somber, and it's joyful. It's full of love and wonderfulness. I mean, look at the beauty around us in this world. Think of the pink rose from the reading. There's so much beauty in life. And that's what the divine is, right? So how we relate to nature then is a direct demonstration of how we relate to God. In What Religious Science Teaches, Ernest Holmes said, "The central principle of religious science, and of science of mind, as we call it now, is this immanence of God. All phenomena appearing in the natural world are manifestations of the spiritual world, the world of causes." So God is in each and every person and everything. Holmes continues, "Everything that exists is a manifestation of the divine mind and is merely expressed by the form. The manifest universe, then, is the body of God." All right? This is my body, but the body of God is all of you and the whole planet and all of the universe. And whatever we can imagine at that farthest point, it's more. It's more. Right? And every attribute, every trait and quality that we experience in nature, in that manifest world, all point to some aspect of God that we can experience at that spiritual level. And that's what we're talking about today. So relationships are integral to how everything that exists connects with everything else. Now think about this. There's this whole complex thing of subatomic particles, electrons and neurons, molecules, chemical compounds that keep getting bigger in these physical forms. But everything is all made up of these same subatomic particles put together in a different way, right? In that infinite diversity of the universe. I mean, look at our body system. It's the structure that we all have. We've got bones, muscles, organs, our heart, circulatory system, brain, the nervous system, the hormones that all control it. What an amazing system, right? And our hearing and eyes. These alone by themselves are amazing. And think about this. Sometimes you can physically see or physically hear, but if your brain doesn't process it, you're still not seeing and hearing. You need them both to work together. And then you need to interpret whatever it is that you see, right? In speech, it's the same thing. You have to understand it, understand what someone said, evaluate it, decide how to respond, form the words in your mind, say the words, and all of that is overlaid by our emotions that can short-circuit it or elevate it, inspire it at any point, right? And then as we look at the star stuff, as we explore the vast and limitless scope of the infinite universe, the galaxies far, far away, we realize that perhaps there is intelligent life elsewhere, right? And we begin to see how complex, vast, and truly wonderful the world is. So we learn about life and about spirit from studying relationships between things. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a American astrophysicist. He's been director of the Hayden Planetarium in New York City for more than 25 years. And you might have recognized him when he's hosted NOVA for 5 years. He's had his own TV show, and he speaks regularly on lots of different places about astrophysics. But he said, we are all connected to each other biologically, to the Earth chemically, to the rest of the universe atomically. Right? So physically we're all connected. But he goes on. He says, we are part of this universe. We are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. Right? Science and spirituality are coming to meet each other because they're inseparable, really. It's just what lens we're looking through. Connecting with nature, then, and learning and going beyond ourselves are so important. Many famous people have remarked on their own relationship with nature. Right? So let's play a game. I'm going to share some quotes, and I'd like you to try and guess who said it. All right? So we have the first one. The best remedy for those who are afraid, lonely, or unhappy is to go outside, somewhere where they can be quite alone with the heavens, nature, and God, because only then does one feel that all is as it should be, and that God wishes to see people happy amidst the simple beauty of nature. As long as this exists, and it certainly always will, I know that then there will be comfort for every sorrow, whatever the circumstances may be. And I firmly believe that nature brings solace in all troubles. Who do you think that was? Any guesses? Anne Frank from The Diary of a Young Girl. And that gave her solace, right? Here's another one. We need the tonic of wildness at the same time that we are in earnest to explore and learn all things. We require that all things be mysterious and unexplorable, that land and sea be indefinitely wild, unsurveyed and unfathomed by us because unfathomable. We can never have enough of nature. John Muir, good guess, but not. Mm-hmm. Teddy Roosevelt? No. Think further east. Emerson? You're getting closer. Let me help. Henry David Thoreau from Walden. Right. Okay, here's another one. If the snow loves the trees and fields, that it kisses them so gently, I wonder. And then it covers them up snug, with some white stuff, a white quilt. And perhaps it says, go to sleep, darlings, till the summer comes again. No, it's a woman. Yeah. No, actually it's not a woman. The speaker's a woman, but the writer's not. Think of childhood. Oh, Dr. Seuss? No. No, this is the Lewis Carroll and Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. All right, Through the Looking Glass. All right. So Alice was thinking about that. And then here's the last one we'll do. All of our memories of the past will be healed, and all of the pent-up energies of unexpressed desires will flow out from us in joyful expression if our communion with nature and with the Spirit becomes complete. This is why quiet and secluded spots tend to rest us. But the only quiet and secluded spot in all the universe is at the center of our own being, where pure spirit reigns supreme. Ernest Holmes. Ernie. Right? And his book, Pray and Prosper. So all of these people knew that it's important to take time to connect with nature, right? To get grounded, To remember that the world is so much greater than our thoughts and worries and actions and whatever just seems to be blocking our vision and clarity at the moment. We are part of something greater, right? To remember that we are part of the universe, a part of that divine manifest world, an integral part, right? Inseparable. And to remember that we are fully connected with all of life and God, the infinite invisible that is the creator of all that is. So we need to have lots of ways to connect with nature, and there's some that we do every day. Like who's a dog or a cat lover? You know, you can sit and watch our animals all the time, right? And I know there's some people that love to watch chipmunks, you know, and that's one of the things up here at Tahoe. And we have another thing that's great is going down to the beach and just putting your toes in the sand. You know, if it's hot, maybe you're going to jump in and swim or kayak, right? Or maybe you're going to throw the ball for your dog to go in and catch it, right? But this is part of being with nature. One of my great aha moments of being with spirit is, has to do with tree hugging. And I was at a retreat down in Joy Lake Retreat Center in Washoe Valley, which is no longer there. I think it got taken out by a landslide one time. But it was, we had an exercise where we went up to an old tree. I think the tree I had was about this big around. And first you had to walk around it and find probably the north side, but you had to find where its opening was. So I found the opening, and you walk up to the tree and embrace it, and we ask permission, and then embrace the tree. And then I just listened and asked what its message was for me. And it was an amazing experience. I was at that point in my life, a lot of crazy things were going on and rushing around and doing what have you. And the tree just said, calm down. And from the tree's perspective, this was like a blink of an eye, my whole lifetime in some ways, right? And so there was this sense of being calm and knowing that all was well. Regardless of what the ripples were on the surface, all was well. And I've held that in my heart. And I come back to it sometimes when things are a little crazy outside, and I remember at that center where the divine is, all is well. Right? When they go out on their e-bike bikes this week, I think we had 8 last week. So that's a great time to commune with nature. You're on your mechanical, but you're speeding through, but it's carefree. When you go up that hill, it's carefree, and you can just enjoy nature. Another way that people have, we've also got the Adopt a Highway. Yesterday we had, I think, 5 people that were there. So Michael Suntome, Michael Brandman, Penny, Ocean, and Nancy, I think we're all there. And so we're doing a great service, picking up all the trash, and we're making sure that the nature is revealed instead of all the trash. And that's part of communing with nature. One of the long-standing ways that people have commune with nature is by creating still life paintings. You contemplate it and draw it. And when you look at those paintings, we saw a lot of this when we were in Scandinavia, and they're in infinite detail. I mean, just the time that it would take to even observe that detail, much less get it onto paper, and all the preliminary things that they do to practice it, and they get it perfect and then put it in the big picture. But all of when you look at the fruit and the flowers, the goblets of wine, it's not lifeless. There's something animated about it because of this love and intensity that's gone into creating it. There's a feeling between the painter and the objects that were studied, right? So we're going to do a mindfulness meditation that I'd like to share. And Nancy, would you make sure everybody has an apple? And so when you get your apple, wait to eat it until it's time. And but when you look at this apple, where is my apple? Okay. So when you look at the apple, all right, observe it. How beautiful this apple is. Look at the colors. This is a Fuji apple, and it's got yellow and red colors, and And so observe this apple. Right? And look at the skin. And on the slices, look at the flesh. All right? These were cut about an hour ago, so it's already starting to yellow. This is part of their natural preservation process. But now close your eyes and imagine, if you're on Zoom, you can look on the picture or close your eyes and just imagine. And imagine that apple going backwards from the kitchen where it was sliced and made ready to eat, back to that grocery produce department where it was admired and then selected, back to the farmhands who picked it from the tree, organic, back to the blooming flower that was fertilized by a bee flying by, back to the seed that became that apple tree in the first place. All are connected, right? Now take a bite out of the apple. Chew it slowly. How does it taste? How moist is it on your tongue? How does it sound as your teeth slowly chew the apple? And then as you swallow, imagine the apple as it is digested and it nourishes your body. Imagine the apple as it fuels your body and how it is transformed into your body's adventure. The apple's form is transformed into a human body. And the relationships continue forever as part of the one, as it goes, the atoms and go from one person to the next, to the next, to the next, whatever changing form. Spirit is unchangeable. But the form, the manifest world, is always changing. And we give gratitude for the blessing of this apple and all of its gifts, for this knowingness of the connection that it gives us to the formless from experiencing this form. And when you're ready, come back to the room and open your eyes. We look inside to see the beauty within. Carl Jung said, "Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakes." Right? Our relationship with nature will always be amazing, vital, and rewarding. Nevertheless, it will be superficial if we do not see that intrinsic value of nature as it exists in and as our own lives. We're part of nature. And when we open our hearts and minds to connect with the divine intention within nature and us as a part of that whole of nature, the divine manifest world, then we see. We see the beauty within our bodies, how we communicate. Our body communicates with itself. The sun communicates with the roses, the flowers with the bees. They need each other. We see the grand connections of everything as one. And the reading that we had this morning from White Eagle, where my book seems to have vanished. Oh, I know where it is, right here. So this was the reading this morning from White Eagle on intuition and initiation that Carol read from. And he tells his readers that we cannot see the higher invisible world in all of its beauty until we develop our consciousness of God within us. Right? So if we just see it and we just look at it, oh, well, that's Lila dog lying here and very comfortable. But if we go beyond that and see the divine within Lila, then there is this connection between the two of us. And that is the we space. That is the divine, where it is there. And White Eagle said, "Only a true infinitesimal part of the glory of God's creation is visible until you have unfolded and developed the spiritual powers to see. Within every one of you lies this life, this power, this God within. If you feel the beauty of the heaven worlds, you are receiving divine truth intuitively. This is the path where we learn to follow Jesus' guidance to, in the words of Psalm 46, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still in love and know that I am." That brings us back to where Colleen started us this morning. The I am. Right? So this week, explore ways that you can enhance and nurture your relationship with the body of God, nature. Maybe you want to hug a tree, or maybe you're going to sit by the lake or jump in for a swim. Maybe you just want to watch the stars late at night, or the sunrise, or your baby turn over in their crib, or your grandchild. However you choose to connect with nature, take time to be still and know that I am God. Take time to honor your relationship with nature and the divine in all and in yourself. Let's take this to prayer. In the beginning, God, the one life that has created everything from itself. As God contemplated itself and spoke its word, the manifest world came into being. The world is God's intention to express itself, to enjoy itself, to understand that potential and bring it forth into form. We are each a part of this magnificent, infinite, and interconnected manifest world, connected with nature and all people and all things, and mostly connected at our very heart of hearts with Spirit that animates us, that lives and moves and has its being in and through and as us and as all the world. And as we explore and celebrate our relationship with nature, we are exploring another part of God. We are exploring the allness of God. And we recognize and celebrate the qualities of God and all of their glory, beauty, form, color, life, and power. And so we allow this divine life to express itself through us. We let go and let God be the truth of our being, and life is more glorious and more wonderful. We see the peace in the midst of what seems like chaos, and see that thread as we move from form to form, from the lesser to the greater, as we know truly, be still and know that I am God. And with deep gratitude that passes understanding, with peace and knowingness that God has made it so, together we say, and so it is.